For you, is this kind of personal? Did you have one of those aha moments when it came to your mother?
She had tried a topical ointment that was an extract from the plant, and it actually helped her rheumatoid arthritis. It wasn't an overnight panacea, but it allowed her to use her hands, and she began gardening, writing letters, all the things that we would all take for granted.
And you could see firsthand then how this worked.
That's right. And I think that's one of the reasons why you find such a passionate individual who works at the company, is that everybody has had a similar experience where a member of their family, a loved one, has turned to this as an alternative to standard of care to some very heavy dose pharmaceutical products. And pharmaceuticals are a wonderful, development that provide great care. But if there's a natural alternative without the same side effects as, say, an opioid, why wouldn't people want to try that? And that was our philosophy going into this when we decided to set up a medically focused company.
So why Plattsburgh? Why did you choose Plattsburgh for one of your dispensary locations?
Plattsburgh is obviously the regional economic hub, and it's a point of convenience for patients. And ultimately, access is the single most important criteria for location. In addition, because of all of the medical centers that are within a relatively close proximity, we thought that the combination of patient access, convenience, and access to the medical community made all the sense in the world.
It's been a slow process. The state is still training doctors. Patients are still registering and signing up. So this is sort of a slow rollout, if you will.
It's supposed to be slow. This is a new program, and frankly, we've actually been amazed at how quickly physicians and patients have enrolled. And so we're encouraged by what we've seen in New York City, and we think that will translate into a broader and faster adoption rate than we've seen in other markets. We operate in several medically focused markets, and every time you have a new program, there's always an adoption curve. So the fact is that patients know we're here, physicians know we're here, and we think that when they realize how high quality the product is and the medicine is, and how convenient and patient-friendly the environments are, that will have a huge impact on people's interest.
Can you give us an idea how many patients you plan to serve up here, or you believe you'll serve to start, and how many physicians in the North Country are participating?
So we don't actually know how many patients or how many physicians have registered in the North Country. We know that statewide, hundreds of patients and hundreds of physicians have registered. The way we've thought about it is simplistically, because this is, again, because it is such a new program, the incident rates of the qualifying conditions nationally ranges anywhere between 1% and 2%. And if we extrapolate that percentage to the New York population, that could give us a patient population somewhere in the neighborhood of 200,000 to 400,000 patients. So obviously there's a long way for that to go, but it gives you an idea of how frequent these chronic and terribly debilitating diseases are.
Right now in New York, about 9 conditions, medical conditions and diseases are covered under medical marijuana. Would you like to see that expand to include more conditions and illnesses?
The answer is we're delighted that the existing set of qualifying conditions exists. If there are patients that the department and that the medical community believe would be helped by access to this medicine, then in due course we think that would be a wonderful outcome. But our view is that we have a very long road to hoe and an enormous opportunity to provide this access to existing patients. So we're not in the political game. We don't really get involved in those conversations. But whatever the department decides to do, we're supportive of.
All the dispensaries across New York will sell the same product, the same 5 types of product?
There will be slight variations. So for example, our first product line is an oral tincture, which is effectively a liquid that you can place beneath your tongue, and then it is transdermally ingested into the system. But you have a variety of formulations within each delivery modality. So whether it's a vaporized concentrate or capsules, you'll have some that are high THC, some that are high CBD, and so it's really a ratio of the active ingredients.
So you set the prices, but the state approves the prices that you set. Are you concerned at all about finding a price that doesn't get too high, that you may turn away patients who can't afford the medical marijuana?
Well, our goal from day one in every market has always been to provide financial subsidies that ensure patient access. We've never had a patient come to one of our facilities and be turned away because of a lack of financial wherewithal, and we're very proud of that fact. One of the first initiatives that we plan on working with the state to introduce is a delivery program. So if Plattsburgh is too far away to provide access, or if a patient is homebound or doesn't have access to their own vehicle, we will find a solution so that they can reach out to us and we will provide that access point at their home.
The dispensary is very bright, shiny, almost looks like a bank or an Apple store. That's probably by design. Is this to help combat the stigma of patients purchasing marijuana?
That's exactly right. There's a huge difference between a medical program and a recreational program. This is a medical program. All we do is provide services and products in medical programs throughout the United States.
Security, a big concern?
Security is always one of our first concerns. And you may not realize it right now, but there are over 10 cameras that are actually filming what's happening in addition to your own in this room. And everything that happens in these facilities is monitored through two systems that are redundant. We have a local monitoring system as well as a remote monitoring system for the cameras that operates 24 hours a day. In order to enter the facility, you have to be registered with the state. So we know who you are and all of the background before you can even get in through the front door. And then, of course, we have a vault, a secured vault, where everything is stored. That's TL30 rated. It's reinforced concrete and rebar, solid steel, solid steel Schedule 1, GSA approved safe, or vault, I should say. So the idea was to create a very safe environment where you didn't feel like you're walking into a fortress, because we're dealing with people who have chronic illnesses who deserve to be treated with respect and care, but also have to know that they're in a very safe place.
And efforts are already underway by at least one lawmaker to expand the program. Assemblyman Richard Godfrey, who is chair of the Assembly's Committee on Health, is proposing legislation to double the number of licenses to grow and distribute medical marijuana to make it easier for patients to get access to it. Right now, some are having to travel hundreds of miles to get to the closest dispensary. And Assemblyman Godfrey also wants to expand the list of diseases and debilitating conditions covered to include Alzheimer's, post-traumatic stress disorder, rheumatoid arthritis, among others. Even some patients who qualify now say they're having difficulty finding a doctor or simply getting access to the list of the nearly 400 doctors across New York who are certified to prescribe medical marijuana. If you go to our website, you can see our story on one of the medical marijuana growing operations that is opened in the Adirondacks, and hear from the mother and daughters running it who also got into the medical marijuana industry as a result of the pain and suffering of a loved one. You'll find it at mountainlake.org.